What's up, guys? So we are going to be knitting a tiny little pillow case cover, a pillow cover for newborn photography props. And to get ready for this project, I showed you a Russian speed knitting video, and now we are going to do herringbone stitch. And so actually these needles are the right size for this yarn. So when we do herringbone stitch, we need to use needles that are a couple sizes larger. Herringbone stitch is a very tight knit, all right? We are going to do our stretchy cast on, so we use the long tail method, and we use 2 needles to do that because we need a lot of room for this stitch. If you want a more in-depth tutorial on casting on, you can go to that video there. Okay. Now, the cool thing about the herringbone stitch is you don't need a specific number of stitches, so you don't have to have even or odd. I've seen some tutorials where they say you do, and I don't know if it's maybe the specific way that they knit them. I'm not quite sure, but from what I've seen, it doesn't really matter.
Okay, so I just have 9 cast on. Like I said, it doesn't really matter. Okay, now this stitch, you just have to really remember where you're at, and it's pretty easy to remember just by looking at what you're doing. So basically, we're going to knit first, and we're going to knit through the back, okay? And we just do our knit stitch. And I'm using the Russian speed knitting style, kind of a variation of continental. It's kind of like an inverted continental, I guess. All right, so we knit 1. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm teaching you guys something completely different. All right. All right, guys, so we have basically, we're using the Russian speed knitting style for this tutorial. And what we're going to do is knit through the back, okay? We're gonna knit through 2 stitches, okay? I'm gonna pull our stitch around here, okay? Now, what we're gonna do is we are going to knock 1 stitch off. All right, and that's it. And we need to knit kind of loose, okay? So we knock the 1 stitch off, then we go back through 2 other ones with the other stitch that we didn't knock off still on the needle, okay? So go through. And then we knock this 1 stitch off, okay? Just knock it right down, okay? Then we're going to knit through the next 2. Okay, knock 1 stitch off through the next 2. Actually, I need to loosen up just a little bit. Oops. Through the next 2. Knock 1 stitch off. I'm going to try and show you from the single. Okay, through the next 2. Knock 1 stitch off, okay? Through the next 2. Uh-oh. Knock 1 stitch off, okay? Through the next 2. Knock 1 stitch off, okay? Through the next 2. Knock 1 stitch off, okay? We're down to our last 2. Knock 1 stitch off. Now we're just going to slip this stitch over. And that's all we're going to do for this, all right? Now it's time to purl. And purling, it's the same thing. We do 2 stitches. So we got our 2 stitches here. We're going to come through this side here. We're just going to take our yarn, just like we did with the Russian speed knitting video, and then we're going to knock 1 stitch off. Okay? Once again, we're going to go through 2. See, it gets really tight. I should have knitted a little bit looser. Okay, let's try and fix this a little bit. And now we're going to knock 1 stitch off. Okay. Knit through 2 again. Okay. And we're going to knock 1 stitch off. Knit through 2 again. We're going to knock 1 stitch off. Knit through 2 again. Okay. Knock 1 stitch off. Knit through 2 again. Knock a stitch off. And once again. Uh-oh, knock that stitch off. Put that one back on. Knit through 2. Knock the stitch off. And our last 2. Knock the stitch off and then slip that stitch. Alright guys, so as you can see, this is a stitch you want to be very consistent with, because down here I was very consistent on my couch knitting this, and then when I got up to these 2 rows right here, I was actually demonstrating for you guys in the camera. Lost the footage, so I'm going to have to re-demonstrate because I wanted to show you guys on something smaller. Anyway, so I'm going to continue on with this, but I wanted to stop and show you the inconsistency from these 2 rows, this one here and this one here, to these rows down here, where I was sitting more comfortably and not having to crouch over for this camera. So I wanted to show you guys the smaller. Okay guys, so we are on the knit side. So we've got our 2 stitches here. Knit in from the bottom. Oops. Knock 1 of these stitches off, this one. Uh-oh, I gotta pick it back up. Okay, now 2 stitches here. Okay, we'll knock this one off. And then we'll knit 2 stitches. See, it's just so hard. I know I complain every single time, guys. I'm so sorry. It's just so much harder to do this angle. Okay, knock one of these off. There we go. Okay, knock it off. I'm going to finish this row out and then I'm going to show you the purl side. Okay guys, now we are going to purl. Knock one off. Okay, knock one off. Okay, and knock one off. Okay guys, there you have it, inconsistencies and all up here. I don't know what just happened with that row, but anyway, this is what the front looks like, and more consistent on here like I said. And this is what the back of the herringbone stitch looks like, which is actually kind of pretty in itself too. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Sharing is caring, so share my full-length tutorials for other newborn photographers and Facebook groups and places like that. You know, people would want to see them. Also, subscribe if you like what I do and if it helps you out. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you.